in the United States, an American F-16 intercepts a Russian Su-35 over the strategically significant airspace of Alaska. As these global powers push the boundaries, the Su-35 executes unexpected maneuvers, intensifying the situation by the second. An American F-16 has intercepted the Russian Su-35, but then something unexpected happened. On September 23, 2024, a routine interception in the Alaskan Air Defense Identification Zone, or ADIZ, took an unexpected and dangerous turn. While an American F-16 from the 18th Fighter Interceptor Squadron based at Eielson Air Force Base was tracking a Russian Tu-95 strategic bomber, an unforeseen event occurred. A Russian Su-35 escorting the bomber formation suddenly performed a head-butting maneuver. This risky action, where the Russian jet crossed at high speed directly in front of the F-16's nose, caused immediate confusion and tension. The American pilot, whose reaction was clearly audible in the cockpit recording, had to make an abrupt move to avoid a dangerous situation. NORAD, responsible for monitoring North American airspace, stated that the maneuver was unsafe and unprofessional, emphasizing that it did not align with the conduct of a professional air force. Although the Russian aircraft were in international airspace, they displayed an increased willingness to provoke. Such maneuvers are known for creating hazardous turbulence and the potential for miscalculations, a serious concern for military officials. This incident is part of a trend of heightened Russian military activities in the region, often involving aggressive aerial maneuvers and joint patrols with allies like China. The event was compared to Cold War tactics, where aggressive encounters between pilots were common. Russia's use of these old intimidation techniques seems to be a show of strength, with Russian pilots deliberately seeking risky confrontations without triggering direct conflict. The escalation of such actions puts additional strain on the tense relationship between the US and Russia, especially as the world watches the geopolitical dynamics unfold in sensitive areas such as the Arctic and other strategic fronts. These events echo past tactics and highlight current geopolitical frictions. But how are these interceptions conducted, and what is the significance of the Alaskan ADIZ in this context? An airspace interception is a critical task for military air forces. It involves intercepting a suspicious or unidentified aircraft approaching a strategic zone to prevent it from threatening a country's sovereignty. The intercepting aircraft must react swiftly, identify the incoming plane's intentions, and monitor the situation closely to avoid escalation. These interceptions are crucial for national security, especially in areas like Alaska's ADIZ, which serves as an early warning system to track potential threats before they encounter US or Canadian airspace. The strategic importance of the Alaskan ADIZ cannot be underestimated. This vast area acts as a buffer zone, where numerous interceptions occur due to the proximity of Russian military flight paths. It serves as an alert system, giving NORAD the opportunity to detect suspicious activity early. These interceptions are especially significant given the increased Russian military activity in the region. By testing these boundaries, Russian aircraft such as the Tu-95 bombers, escorted by Su-35s, aim to gauge the US's readiness and response time. Experts often see these actions as a show of force and a way to apply pressure without directly provoking conflict. The Russian Su-35, an advanced fighter jet known for its agility and formidable weaponry, is designed for air superiority and ground attack missions. Equipped with modern radar and electronic warfare technology, it is a formidable opponent. The American F-16, on the other hand, is a proven multi-role fighter, serving for decades and known for its speed and precision. Armed with air-to-air missiles like the AIM-9 Sidewinder and AIM-120 AMRAAM, it is well suited for interception missions. The involvement of these aircraft in this incident underscores the importance of the ADIZ as a defensive line and as a stage for geopolitical tensions. When Russian aircraft test boundaries with risky maneuvers, US pilots are challenged to maintain calm and discipline under immense pressure. Before we dive into the risks of these actions and how they can lead to escalation, I want to ask you a question to leave in the comments. What do you think about these events? Are these risky interceptions a deliberate strategy by Russia to create tension? Or are they mainly individual actions by pilots? Share your thoughts below. Interceptions of military aircraft are always laden with risks, and a situation can quickly escalate from an encounter to an armed conflict. In this specific incident in the Alaskan ADIZ, where the Russian Su-35 performed a head-butting maneuver right in front of an American F-16, the dangers were immediately apparent. The airspace where such interceptions occur is often a place where tension and the potential for miscalculation go hand in hand. A single misjudgment by a pilot could lead to a collision or even an exchange of fire, triggering a broader military crisis. The risks of these kinds of incidents are not new. Historically, there have been several near misses resulting from provocative maneuvers. During the Cold War, the skies above Europe and the Atlantic were often scenes of aggressive interceptions between NATO and Soviet aircraft. A notorious example is the 1983 incident, where a Soviet jet shot down a South Korean passenger plane, KAL-007, after it strayed into Soviet airspace. Although this was an extreme case, it underscores how quickly a mistake or overreaction can lead to a catastrophic consequence. In the case of the recent interception on September 23, 2024, the maneuver of the Russian Su-35 was extremely risky. A head-butting maneuver involves an aircraft cutting in front of another machine at high speed, causing turbulence and increasing the risk of a collision. Such actions not only endanger the lives of the pilots involved, but also threaten to trigger diplomatic chain reactions. This incident highlights the unstable nature of current US-Russia relations, already strained by geopolitical events such as the war in Ukraine and joint military exercises between Russia and China. The escalating nature of these interceptions is not limited to aerial incidents. The risk of going from near collision to a conflict is further heightened by the modern military technology and armament of the aircraft. In this case, the American F-16 was armed with AIM-9 Sidewinders and AIM-120 AMRAAM missiles. Although the primary objective of these interceptions is defensive, even a defensive move can be misinterpreted, especially in the heat of the moment. In the past, minor incidents such as the 2001 collision between a US EP spy plane and a Chinese J-8 fighter have led to diplomatic crises that lasted for weeks. This proves how sensitive these encounters are and how a single maneuver, like the unsafe action of the Su-35, can serve as a spark for a larger confrontation. With these incidents in mind, the question remains: how long can the US and Russia continue these risky games in the sky before an irreversible mistake is made? You think it's just a matter of time before such an incident spirals out of control? The potential for a dangerous miscalculation is clear, but how does the international community respond to these provocations? After the incident on September 23, 2024, international reactions followed that further fueled geopolitical tension. Although the Russian aircraft formally remained in international airspace, NORAD viewed the action as a clear provocation. From the Russian side, however, the reaction was much more reserved. The Kremlin downplayed the incident, calling it a routine exercise within internationally accepted boundaries. This type of reaction fits into Russia's broader strategy of demonstrating power without appearing explicitly provocative. The use of terms like routine is part of the rhetoric aimed at normalizing military activities in strategic zones and presenting the presence of Russian aircraft as non-threatening. The diplomatic aftermath of such confrontations can have far-reaching consequences. Incidents like these are often used to reinforce national positions and gain public support. The US military emphasizes their willingness to cooperate with allies to ensure the security of North American airspace, while Russia shows its domestic audience that it can challenge US influence. This diplomatic exchange is a subtle power play that goes beyond the incident itself and is part of a broader context of military and political strategies. The recent incident involving the Russian Su-35 and the American F-16 raises questions about the future interactions between the air forces of the US and Russia, and how these will affect the military strategies of both countries. Interceptions in the Alaskan ATIS are not new, but the intensity and risky nature of such maneuvers seem to be increasing. This incident shows that the strategic value of Alaska and the surrounding airspace remains crucial in the geopolitical chess game between world powers. In the future, the US may further strengthen its air defense strategy. This could mean deploying more patrols and more advanced radar systems to better monitor potential threats. The increase in military provocations by Russia, as well as by China in other parts of the world, forces the US to constantly adapt and anticipate new tactics used against their air defense. It remains a delicate balance between defensive preparations and preventing unintended escalation. Russia, on the other hand, seems determined to continue strengthening its presence in strategic air and sea zones. By performing risky maneuvers like those of the Su-35, Russia shows that it's willing to push boundaries and challenge the readiness of the US. These actions are not only intended as tests, but also serve to enhance both internal and external perceptions of Russian military power. However, the risk is that such a strategy based on provocations could quickly turn into a more serious conflict if one of the parties involved reacts incorrectly. Such encounters underscore the need for diplomatic communication and international protocols to prevent escalation. While confrontations like these typically end without direct military actions, they increase tension and mistrust between major powers. The consequences of a serious incident could be far-reaching, not only for the countries involved, but also for their allies and the broader geopolitical landscape. Such a situation could lead to a chain of military and diplomatic steps that could destabilize world politics. For both the US and Russia, it is crucial to reconsider their strategies and think about how to avoid such confrontations in the future. Improving protocols, training pilots to avoid escalations, and promoting communication channels between military units can help prevent disastrous misunderstandings. The growing risks of such provocations cannot be underestimated here and have implications for future military strategies. How does all this fit into the broader geopolitical chess game, and what are the prospects? The incidents in the airspace over the Alaskan ADIZ are not the only signs of tensions between the US and Russia, but also reflect a broader geopolitical chess game playing out worldwide. The rise of new military alliances and cooperation between countries like Russia and China has a direct impact on the global security situation. The joint flights of Russia and Chinese bombers near Alaska earlier this year illustrate how major powers are working together to show influence and power. These combined activities are not only aimed at testing US military response, but also serve to show US allies that the opponents are working more closely together. The deployment of advanced drones and improved radar and communication systems is crucial to safeguard security and reduce the risk of miscalculations. In this context, the need for international cooperation and training is increasing. Multilateral training programs, in which pilots learn how to deal with risky and aggressive maneuvers without escalating the situation, are becoming increasingly important. Such training includes scenarios where unexpected maneuvers, such as the headbutting technique, are practiced to teach pilots how to respond quickly and to de-escalate. The goal is to enhance the discipline and the responsiveness of pilots, potentially saving lives and preventing military conflicts. Furthermore, it's important to look at the technological innovations being used by military air forces. The US F-16s, although formidable, are increasingly being replaced by more modern aircraft like the F-35 Lightning II, which has better stealth capabilities and more advanced sensors. At the same time, Russia is investing in more advanced versions of the Su series, such as the Su-57, with the aim of giving their air force an edge in future confrontations. This technological race puts additional pressure on pilots to continuously adapt and master the most advanced techniques. This incident involving the Russian Su-35 and the American F-16 shows just how fragile the balance is in the airspace over strategic zones like the Alaskan ADIZ. Do you think that such encounters will ever lead to a conflict? Let us know in the comments. Each of these interceptions reminds us how quickly an encounter can escalate into a situation with serious consequences. While major powers flex their muscles and develop new technologies and training programs, the risk of a miscalculation remains. The world watches anxiously as these confrontations reshuffle the geopolitical landscape. Thank you for watching this analysis. Subscribe to our channel and stay informed about all naval events and everything related to the Navy, and leave your opinion in the comments. Together, we remain vigilant about the events that are changing the world. Thanks for watching.